Before we get into this evening's live, I would like to touch base on what we're going to go over within this live. So, I think I need to redetermine what I'm saying here because alt season, I think we're going into something different here. It's not the tradition. I don't think we're in a traditional cycle here. I think eventually, we don't know when it's eventually going to happen, but when we do have a surge, a different kind of surge, and we'll go into the charts because they're important right now. But with what's transpiring, not just within crypto, but within the framework of the USA going digital and all of the banks' demand within, because let's face it, the banks are insolvent and all ends are going to meet in the same place. We just knew it a lot earlier than everybody else. So we were properly positioned. So I've got a lot of stuff to go over here this evening. Well, one, we'll talk about Stuart Alderody, who seems extremely confident that I don't know, maybe the Trump administration is going to withdraw this appeal, maybe. But this all plays into something. So we'll talk about what a super cycle could be and what ends meet. Then we'll go over the fact that Ripple assigns IDs to over 500 banks, and this was recent news. So we'll just tie this in together. It's going to be a nice little thing we're going to do here. So yes, we'll focus on the charts because we have to, because we're having this back test right now. And if we could hold, I mean, if we hold this, it's a descending triangle breakout or a descending wedge, you could call it. They usually build pressure and break out. And right now we put that inverse head and shoulders. We had the artificial move up to the top of the channel that we've been playing within. And it's been within since back here. And now we have more evidence, but we could do it like this. Yeah, we could do it like that, but I still think I like it like this. I still think I like the defined channel. But we have this back test right now that's happening as we speak. So I decided to come on live right now, good or bad. If it breaks down, at least we'll be here together. But it looks like a descending triangle or descending wedge, some could call it. But it looks like we're trying to break out. We have that inverse head and shoulders that's set up. And now it's like the waiting game. Do we break out of this pattern? And this would be a very bullish consolidation. And some could argue that we got to catch up to XLM a little bit with its rally. And I could see that because we never went up the next layer. And if you start looking at XLM, I mean, it's not that it went extremely crazy on XRP because they both had unbelievable runs. If you start from where we started, and now you come up to where we're at, where are we at? 140. It's like up 100. XRP's up about 200%, something like that, 200%. But when you look at XLM, and it's a pretty big difference here, folks. Like XLM, even where it's at, we started at what, 10 cents, 9.6, something like that. It's up still like 400%. I mean, it's a big difference. So what I'm thinking here is, and it can go one of two ways. Like I said earlier, I was excited earlier, and it's for good reason, because if we can start pushing out of these patterns, and Ethereum is a big key here. And remember, alt season or a form of it, Bitcoin can still rally. It can still come up, but it's the dominance factor. It's the dominance factor. For this to play out appropriately, you need the dominance to drop on Bitcoin. And right now it's playing down. Like Bitcoin is showing the dominance is yielding, which means the money has to go somewhere. So it's not Bitcoin remaining as dominant as it is because everything else is falling equally. Some of the money's finding its way to altcoins. Or maybe, just maybe, we need to get that leg on Ethereum because Ethereum is what can usher in alt season. So, you know, just because it's not a definition, by definition, alt season, we still need that move by Ethereum. That's what I keep saying. Ethereum can usher it in. And when I talked earlier, we would need to get up to with Ethereum. And I'm sorry to say, but in order for this to happen, we would have to break 3820. And then we could start talking about the ushering in of alt season. But that's still another 10% move by Ethereum. It needs to break out. If Ethereum breaks out of this multi-year holding pattern that's been I would say this is, for all intents and purposes, an ascending wedge. I mean, you could put it right here so you can tighten this pattern. But I've been watching these for a long time, just seeing when they would develop. And like, you could come through like this. You could even come down like this because it obviously broke down. But you can form it however you want. You can see where it's going to meet. You know, you can do it however you want. Whatever makes you comfortable. No one's going to judge. But if we do something like this, then you can kind of see if you keep drawing this out, you know, we're formed into something like that within, even in the shorter consolidation. If you want to do that, and that still, you know, seems to be, that's an ascending formation. But then you take out the first top, which kind of would be bad technical analysis. So I'm trying to do the entirety of the pattern. Pretty good. So if we just come to this part of the pattern, we can see a resistance will be met somewhere around 3,820 if this plays out. So I find it very, very incredibly important that we have to watch this, because if Ethereum plays out, it's going to start ushering in what we're looking for. Been watching you since I broke my back 3 years ago. Respect, Tom. Hey, Facts, welcome in. I can relate to you. Unfortunately, I did the same thing in a car accident when I was the day after my 23rd birthday on December 18th. It was back in 2006. Respect both ways, my friend. It is not an easy living once that happens, unfortunately. But, you know, you can still do things people tell you not to. You just got to do it in your own way. That's all. Or what they say you can't do. You got to be very careful about it.
Thomas made some bad choices.
I mean, it's possible that we're creating a bearish cup and handle. But I think a lot of what we're looking at right now is really within this pattern that we're defining right now on this attempted breakout. Because I don't know. You're talking about the short-term cup. And if it does, it looks like we're building a handle from here. And what I would say, unless this breaks down and breaks our back, and it would have to break our back for me to change my mind, because at least at this point, for 3 reasons. One, we created this little cup, but within the cup consolidation, inverse head and shoulders that's trying to play out, and we're trying to break out of a descending formation called a descending triangle. Some would call it a descending triangle would be a fair assessment. Descending wedge, I've heard people call it. But that inverse head and shoulders, I mean, we're kind of playing out into a breakout point right now. Unless this is a massive fake out, which it very well could be. You know, like I say in crypto, it's a biatch a lot of the times, because it looks like it's good. It feels like it's good. It looks like it's about to go. And then, you know, the bottom line is here, though, we're way up. We're way up. So anything can happen here. It's not at 50 cents anymore, but that's the technical setup. And, you know, a lot of times they do mess with the technical traders. But even on a topping reversal pattern, this seems to have consolidated too far to the side to be a topping reversal. It seems to have come out too far, because even if it comes out here, it seems to be its own little pattern here now. So it feels like it came down, reset from where it started, the head or the topping reversal, created this descending formation, never came all the way down to the uptrend. And now it's on the precipice of having and that's an interesting way to describe it, but it is, because it's either going to break down and collapse, or it's going to catch this reversal and we're going to push out of here. Now, in the 3 hourly, it's not as desirable, I can tell you that. But this chart looks crazy, Tom. 90 cent time. I'm not saying it can't go to 90 cents. Because if it doesn't break out of this, we will absolutely go down there. There's a fair value gap. That's what we talked about last night. This is purely a breakout attempt. That's it. And what do I expect to happen? Probably it'll break our back. But, you know, it is what it is. The escrow, the escrow is coming up. So if XRP is going to do something, it's going to do it in the next couple of days. That's why this setup is so interesting. Oh, yeah, 90 cents would be. Oh, yeah. It breaks up in dark moons to new moon, Thanksgiving. Yep. That's the other part of this as well. Oh, you're welcome, Robert. You're welcome. But if we start going through all of this, let me timestamp this real quick. And please make sure to hit that like button as we're watching this. Like I said, it's chaos right now. I'm just coming on and I'm trying to in the moment, look at these, like, well, with XRP in particular, with the way it's set up. You know, it built into a formation, and we will see if it plays out or if it's a trap. Sometimes you have these traps that go on in crypto. I always talk about the trading algorithm. So I did a short when I talked about, can we beat the beast? The beast would be the manipulators. You can even see the inverse setup here. Like, that's not something I'm making up. If you're not familiar with what an inverse head and shoulders is, we can go into it real quick just so you can see. I don't want to... John Emerson, thank you so much for the $9.99 donation. Also been in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. That's excellent. He says, excellent. Took the elevator up and looking like it's going to take the stairs down. Can see it not at least testing 33, let alone 22. Maybe look at the market cap chart for XLM. Went from 3 to 15 billion. Absolutely. It went way up. It went way up. It went way up. So, all valid points. All valid points with what can happen. And XLM rocketed up there. What was I looking at? What did I want to look at? Shoot, I forgot. If somebody can remind me what I was looking at, or what I was about to look up. Oh, it's been a crazy few days, Craig, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge and me being abducted by aliens. Robert, thank you so much for the $10 donation. Oh, the inverse head and shoulders, that's right. Now it's pulling down more like we needed to at least, it needed to come down a little bit, which it is. The inverse head and shoulders pattern, yes indeed. Inverse head and shoulders pattern. So this is the inverse head and shoulders pattern. And it disappeared. But here it is. I think this is a good one. So you get the first head, the shoulder, the second head, but we're also going to go into real time too and look at a chart. But it looks like that's what XRP is building. We got the first shoulder. And this isn't a bigger time frame. I can lower it. But this looks like a first shoulder, second, or the head. This could be forming right now down. Maybe it comes down in double bottoms. Maybe it pulls up now. But it looks like it's trying to form that inverse head and shoulders. Could be a trap. You know, it could be a trap too. That's something we have to pay attention to, like I said earlier. But we're trying to back test now all of these formations. So is this inverse head and shoulders going to play out, or does it come down? That's the bottom line. Nobody knows except the market makers. Not even me. I'm not a wizard. I just try to play the patterns. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. So, but then again, I buy my long bag. So I've been in this. And so whether it comes down or not, it really doesn't matter to me. Eventually it's going to finish its cycle. Eventually it's going to finish its cycle. And I'm not going nowhere until, you know, it does what it needs to do. Market needs cooling. All good. Let's keep it real. Yeah, the market always needs cooling, but we're in an interesting spot here. That's all. But we'll see. We'll see what happens here. We will definitely see. Tom, what you think will happen with HBAR if it ever buys Google Chrome? I mean, if that ever happened, it'd be craziness. That would absolutely be craziness. Great news today for both HBAR and XRP. It's a trap. Are you talking about this down right now as a trap? There was great news that came out for both fronts. I'm praying that XRP comes back below $1 so I can buy. Yeah, Wales, Josie Wales, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months now with the XRP Predictor. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. And if it goes down, if you missed it this time around, look how quick it surges and when it actually happens. But we've got to play this inverse pattern out. So let's go over some of this news that we're talking about, because it looks like an inverse setup, but not all inverse setups play out. Sometimes they fail. We've still got room to come down. Earlier we were down at like this $1.37 approximately, and then it went to a $1.41 area. Then it went up to a $1.50 roughly. Came back down to where we're at now, around $1.41. So it's almost like it's got this inverse head and shoulders, and then we went left shoulder, head, right shoulder on this little consolidation, which is interesting to me. See, that's a place for hope. That's a place for hope. It came down, came up, came down, came around. Now if it pulls back up, you can see a small inverse head and shoulders there. But, you know, we'll see. It's like I said, we got to defeat the beast. And the market makers, they play a heavy hand. We can't compete with them. We can only hope to be on the same page. Paper hands make the most money. It's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah. So let's let this play out for a minute. Otherwise, we'll just keep talking about the same thing. But don't be mad. Like, I see a lot of people getting mad about a 20% pullback or whatever. We went up 200 and something percent. So you have to have healthy pullbacks. And we're in the midst of a pullback right now. We've come down from $1.63, 64, and we had gone all the way down to $1.26, 25. So it's not like we haven't done a retracement here. It might need more. But the super cycle. So I think it's building towards a super cycle. So in economics, a super cycle describes an extended period characterized by the outside growth of a particular asset or sector, in this case, crypto. Unlike a typical short-term bubble fueled by hype and speculation, super cycles indicate a major shift underpinned by strong fundamentals over many years. And for crypto, I think it's the reality here that we're going into a digital era where everything, the USA is ready, we're going into it. And it's lining up to where the banks really do need a bailout here in terms of capital. So to turn everything digital makes a lot of sense. And then they'll be using certain kind of cryptos. And in a tokenized world, that's what we're going for. That's why Trump got elected. You know, that's why the central banks went in that direction. I'm glad it was Trump. I'm glad in a way we went this way, but also not. Because either way we were going this way. It was going to be a little more painful, the opposite route. But that's why it's so important to hold ISO and IoT tokens in this time. Don't go to the meme tokens unless you want to make a quick buck. But once the time shifts, those are all going to get speculated down. Everybody's going to release the beast, and so to say, or release the Kraken, and they're just going to rug pull every single meme token and start investing in the ISO and the IoT, and not just that, but in the framework of what's to come with AI, and it's going to end up it's going to be bad. So, are we entering a new crypto super cycle? Multiple metrics indicate crypto has graduated from a speculative asset to an emerging mega trend. Unlike past crypto rallies relying on hype and pre-sale ICO tokens, the current enthusiasm finds support in actual adoption. The number of Bitcoin active addresses has continued to grow throughout the decade, definitively signaling broadening acceptance. At the same time, mainstream financial institutions like investment banks, asset managers, Bitcoin in the 93s now, yes, it needs to come back. Hedge funds and mutual funds, hey, you know, if it doesn't pan out in this inverse head and shoulders, we'll look for the next part. We might have to come back down to the bottom of the descending triangle or the descending wedge, whatever you want to call it. Hedge funds and mutual funds are finally embracing crypto as an inevitable asset class after years of skepticism. Major banks have introduced their plan to offer custodial services to securely manage clients' crypto holdings. In response to surging demand, BlackRock, JP Morgan Chase, and Goldman Sachs aim to let wealth management clients gain crypto exposure. And that's what we want, XRP, Ricky Ripple. We need the dominance to top. But yeah, if it goes down 10, 20%, it doesn't. I am still so happy because of how high we've come. Remember, I've been talking about XRP for almost 2.5 years, and we've been in the 50-cent range. To say $1 anything, $1.01, $1.06, $1.14, $1.70, which we didn't get yet, but $1.40, $1.31. To say $1 anything feels good. Because for a while it wasn't. It was inevitable that we had to get there, but it was when. So anyhow, they aim to let wealth management clients gain crypto exposure. Similarly, crypto ETFs also experienced massive early success, attracting over $4 billion shortly after launching. Blah blah blah. Crypto's narrative consolidated around Bitcoin as digital gold. That's never going to work that angle because it doesn't have the great store of value because it always moves up and down so quick. But in the new age, they're going to try to do this. So the long-term trajectory continues skewing upwards. And remember, the U.S. is also trying to make a Bitcoin reserve. And it wasn't just Trump who said this. They had a a sitting representative come out and say that they want to sell their gold reserves to buy Bitcoin, which brings an unprecedented amount of capital. So macro environment tailwinds also support the growing narrative of an impending supercycle spanning the entire decade. Unprecedented spending by governments worldwide since 2020 has stoked fears of currency devaluation, inflation down the line, scenarios that cryptocurrencies directly hedge against. Hordes of retail and institutional capital may rotate into crypto safe harbors if even mild inflation materializes, rapidly propelling prices upwards. They never send my notifications out, unfortunately. It's unfortunate. Yeah, and if Bitcoin dominance is coming down, that means the money's going to start pushing into Ethereum. It's in a bull flag. It looks like a bull flag, at least. At least some kind of bullish channel. Bitcoin's narrative as the digital store of value mainly stems from verifiable scarcity, rooted in underlying protocol design. The code caps supply at 21 million Bitcoin, enabling it to act as a hedge against inflation, similar to gold. However, Bitcoin's natively digital nature also allows superior portability, security, and that's ridiculous because you can have digital gold too. So like that's fine. That's just an angle that's not going to work. They keep rerouting that angle for a reason. Memes need to drop a lot. That's another sign that little cycle for memes are over. Like those go quick. Those little cycles go so quick. But it's always the same. Memes run with Bitcoin, and then once Bitcoin dominance starts dropping, all the money pours into Ethereum, and the alts kind of go up and down, left and right. They can't really figure it out. And then, yeah. So the spot, that's why I always say buy spot. The leverage is small 5x with the group, and even then, I tell you not to do because you're going to lose money. Over time, you'll lose money. It's just the way it goes. So Bitcoin enabling it to act as a hedge against inflation, yada yada. El Salvador even approved Bitcoin as a legal tender in 21 and they made bank. But I mean, at what expense? And then like, we'll go into this after, but going back into the super cycle, like for XRP possibly, Ripple did assign over 500 IDs to over 500 banks. Ripple XRP is reported to have assigned unique IDs to over 500 financial institutions as part of an effort to redefine cross-border payments. Ripple recently joined hands with Mercado Bitcoin to expand its portfolio of products and push retail and corporate payments on an international scale. We'll come back into this in a sec. I want to look at the chart because obviously we're moving here a little bit. We're at $1.41 and some change, it looks like. Oh, it didn't even go down there. See, that's why I hate looking at the charts. Think about it. If you're doing something and you're holding something, I mean, I like looking at the charts, but in positions of holding a position. Because in the short term, it's never going to play out the long-term gain. So even if it comes down a few percent, what happens when it just reverses back up? Or like if you were doing something else and it went up and then it just comes back down. You know, you don't even see it. Like if I wouldn't have done anything and I just looked at my computer just now when I left you guys earlier, we were at $1.41 and some change. Now we're at $1.42 and some change. If I don't look at anything, I'd be like, oh, then we went up a little bit, not much. Came up about 0.25%, 0.5%. Oh yeah, Bagelgate, that's what taught me everything. Bagelgate is what taught me everything. That's why I don't do a high leverage. Never, I don't like to do leverage. I don't even really like to do it with the community, but I do it. And fortunately for we're up over $400 and some change. But that can quickly turn away. That's why I say, make sure you do spot, not leverage. Spot. We bought XRP at 34 cents. We've had XLM since 8 cents. And it's like, some are like, Tom, why didn't you sell XLM when it was at 65? You're so good at technical analysis, or 60. I'm not ready to sell it. So I sell it from my 8 cent buy at 50, pay all the capital gains, or the short-term tax, and then what? What happens when I want to buy it back in? Now I got to buy it to sell it to repay the same damn tax that I just paid before? And then I'm going to sell it again to rebuy it for the longer hold so I can repay the third time for the same tax for the same thing I held once before again and over and again? It doesn't make any sense. If you trade leverage, only use 100 to 200 at a time with money you don't. Yeah, that's all I do. Yep. That's all I do. I started with $170 for our copy trading, and we're lucky because it's like $600 in value if I just had it all in there at once. But I put it into a separate spot. So if I lose some, I restore it up to 170. If that $600 goes to zero, I'm done copy trading because it started at 170. And then if I lose my 170, I'm not doing it no more. I'm very stingy. Julie knows I'm very, very stingy. But fortunately, like I said, it's working out for us right now. But at the same time, do I ever feel confident when I'm holding a leverage trade? Nope. Even if it looks good, nope. Absolutely have to understand direction. Absolutely. And that's why right now it's playing off the inverse head and shoulders. That's it. If it breaks down the inverse head and shoulders, well, it didn't play out. And it's going to, be a hefty drop down. But you would know. You'll eventually know. We'll eventually know. Could be $1.29 retest. Could be $1.29. But if it comes down to $1.29, it'll invalidate that inverse head and shoulders. So, there are some caveats here to this pattern. And if it comes down too far, that inverse head and shoulders invalidated. So I don't know. Because I hear a lot of people saying $1.29, but then it already retested the $1.29 on the inverse head just now. And because it's an inverse head, it doesn't need to come down a second time. It already tested that. We hit $1.27. The daily and weekly candle says it all. Tom is the most interactive program ever written with. Yes, that is the cool thing now too. And yeah, you see that's a very, very basically from the middle of this candle up, it's all bullish right now. And we've still got 6 days and 3 minutes. That's a very bullish weekly candle starting. That doesn't have any bearish theme here. And it even engulfed from middle all the way through. So zoom out and so much. Oh, there's tons of upside here. Oh, I know the upside here. I know the upside from just the pattern that's set up. Right now we've back tested it. Oh, good. We've back tested $1.37, and this could be a pretty bullish candle here to end the day if we can do it properly. Now, if we come all the way down here and we start pulling back here a little bit, it might not be so hot. But we're back tested the $1.37. We even back tested the ascending breakout. We came right to it. 128 when it was at 126.5. That means that area held. And it was a rather volatile swing down from $1.62 all the way down to $1.28. So for this area to hold was big. It was big. It was big. I'm just going to say it was big. So coming down to close all those long positions from 55. No, it could, but it's already, it succeeded in taking a lot of liquidity from longs. I can tell you that for a fact. I've been watching the long to short areas, and it's been interesting how XRP's been chopping the longs here. Like, look at this. In the midst of a rally where XRP, just think about this. XRP's up to $1.40 right now. Let's just call it $1.40. I know it's a little bit higher, but can we all agree we're at least at $1.40, whether it fluctuates a little bit, at least it's over $1.40 while we're talking. So $1.40. Look at the liquidations here the last couple of days. It's been absurd. You've got 20 million to 7.87 million on November 23rd. And this is still proactive to today too. This one's got 16 million to 7.2 million in liquidations here, right? The chart doesn't look bad. And yeah, I'll give you accurate reporting. And if it breaks down, I've told you, if this inverse head and shoulders breaks down, it's not good. But right now, we're trying to have the breakout of the descending consolidation. We have that inverse head and shoulders that the right arm is trying to break out of on the back test here, the pattern formation. And we're literally on the cusp. And I keep using a word, we're on the precipice. And if you look it up, you could be on the end of a cliff too. So, like, if you look at it by definition, I'm not saying anything that's not accurate, but I guess if you don't understand the English language, because I have a lot of people that are from outside the US. But look I keep saying the precipice, a very steep rock face or cliff, especially a tall one. We swerve toward the edge of the precipice. We're on the edge of the precipice right here, falling off a cliff, but at the last second, we've swerved and made an inverse head and shoulders. That's what I mean. We're on We're in a very weird spot here. Precipice, ladies and gentlemen. A very steep or overhanging place. A hazardous situation. You know? That's what I mean. It's something big can come out of it, but we are on the precipice, which means it could actually be bad as well. So it's interesting. So, but it's just that I think it's funny when you look at it that way. So, but anyhow, let's go back to these liquidations. So these liquidations are interesting. I think it tells a story. Because right now, if we just hear me out and don't shoot the messenger, but if we come down now and liquidate all those longs at 55, there's so many shorts right now that have been unabated from $1.60 whatever, and they haven't even had to be retested at all. They basically just had a clean shot down. And again, in my experience, the market doesn't usually like to give it all that quickly. But that doesn't mean there's not an exception to the rule, because it does happen. But we have to follow the rule, not the exception, until the exception happens. YouTube just sent you my notification. Excellent. Banks and institutions don't buy or hold it. They borrow it for a fee. Well, I mean, you're going to have to do your own research to figure out your own question there, because you look at it a little differently than I do. You have to have a circulating supply. So if they borrow it for a fee, those tokens still have to be moved somewhere for the capital. So short-sighted on your answer or question, but it is a good question or response. It's not invalid. It's just that capital has to be moved either way. It's either going to be done by the bank, or it's going to be done by the person and you give them the capital. So either way, it's being moved. Can XLM overtake ADA? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just going to take time. Because there's a lot of support for ADA, believe it or not, in like South Africa, in those areas. I just think algo, where it's positioned right now, compared to ADA, especially now, you get it for 5-1 basically on ADA. But yeah, that liquidation speaks volume. It does speak volume. What would you do if XRP hits $10 this bull run? Remodel my house. Remodel my house. And it probably wouldn't have to come from XRP assets. But if XRP gets to $10, you know, with all the ISO and IoT tokens I hold, that would be part of the cycle. And like, look, this is kind of what I mean here. Oh my God, HBAR's down 7% today. It's going crazy. It's still within its channel, but it's going crazy. I thought what a pile of shit. You know, if somebody buys it up here, right? They're sitting here right now and they're like, everybody's telling me to buy HBAR. It's down 21%. This bullshit. I put 10 grand on it. I only got 7,800 left. What the hell is going on? I hate crypto. I'm never investing again. The reality is, if you bought it where you're supposed to, in the consolidatory phase at the lows of the lows, like we did, we bought it at 4.8. So from 4.8, where they bought it up here when we were up 249%, we're still sitting here saying, okay, well, you know, we're in the bullish consolidation still. We have to have pullbacks. We just went up 218 friggin' percent, basically unabated. My God, we dropped 33% in our holdings, but we're still up 183% from the start. And now you're like, well, is it a fake out or did volume actually come in? Well, you know, it's a noticeable surge in volume here from the consolidatory phase, right? Even from when we were dumping, that's a notable shift in volume in the positive. Now, when it's consolidating down, how's the volume looking? Trash. It's looking like trash. It's all for what it is. There's no damn volume bringing us down. Seems to be all an illusion. Oh, a billionaire. You guys don't understand. I'm not doing this for the money, so what difference would it make if I had even more money? I don't do this for the money. I don't need the money for my show. That's why I give all the information out for free, and I say, hey, someone will pay it forward eventually if I do good. But if I do, I will buy Michigan, the best players known to man, and just make sure that our football team can compete with the SEC, kind of like we started doing now, so apparently they don't need me. But I'm not leaving. I built something, and then we got to go from, okay, we have all this money. Now what do we do with it? You know, how do we put it into work to where we're going to be able to take this money and be able to get a 6-figure return every year off of what we have? That would be the next step if we can do this right. I understand you buy the dip and hold. Are you talking to me? My whole philosophy is buy the bear cycle and don't hold on for dear life until you get to the end of the cycle as it comes back up, and you have to meet certain points. XRP for me, you guys don't understand. I was bear market guy, remember? What was my stipulation for me to flip from bear market to bull cycle? XRP had to do one simple thing for me. Does anybody remember? What did it have to do? Why could Tom possibly have shifted his attention here? What did it have to do, in my opinion, to shift to a bull market? Nope, not hit $1. Not a bad suggestion, but I didn't say not hit $1. That's right, buy the bear market thing and hold. Yes, $1.20 would allow us to start thinking it, but there was also a higher target than that, and it needed to be hit. So, I'll let you know. My thing was, if XRP with this cup and handle we've been in for multi-year cup and handle, if this played out appropriately, and yes, my message was always, I only buy XRP under 40 cents. Who remembers that in here? Syrian does. She said buy under 40 cents. Kryptonian, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Meteor. And ladies and gentlemen, he is famous now. Maybe not to you guys, but he's famous. You will be now. He's the one who created us let's call it for what it is. XRP rising from the ashes. I mean, isn't this synonymous? He created me this, and now on every single update, this is what I use on my updates. And it's an honor, Kryptonian. Seriously. And then you guys know on my lives, and this was also created by somebody. I use this on my lives. That was created from somebody else in the audience as well. So I think it's awesome. I think it's like the Phoenix Rising, right? And I think that's what he was going for. Yep. That's what I mean. I think he was going for like XRP rise out of the ashes like the Phoenix Rising, and it's so beautiful. And I asked him if I could use it, and he said, he gave me his blessing. And I told him I would take it down if it wasn't okay. And he said, use it. It's awesome. It just fits. And things come to you at certain points, and it's like the man upstairs sent me that for a reason. Through you. He used you to send it to me, because XRP, for all intents and purposes, we've never seen this before. Because of what's happened, the last time we seen a move like this, we knew it was false Gravata because the case was just starting. That's why we knew we had to sell once it hit that $1.98 brick wall, and then it couldn't go up any higher than $1.78 on the right arm. We knew it at $1.66. I was alive on air, and I said, oh, fuck. That's not what's going on here. That's not what's going on here at all. I've been preparing for this, not just with XRP. That's what everybody doesn't understand. XRP starts it all. XRP made me a lot of money in 21 for my standard, because I only had a couple $1,000, like $3,000, $3,500 in it, but it made me 16 grand. Or after the differential is like 12,000 something. But it's been my understanding that at the end of a cycle, you don't keep trying to rebuy into other fucking crypto if you think it's over. If you're selling out XRP and all your other stuff, why are you going to try to buy the whole time down to trade? So what I did is I took that capital, over 10 grand, waited for an entry to rebuy some more precious metals, and I found that entry point at just over 1,600 on gold and just over $17 on silver, right around 17. So I took what I understand, what I've taught myself, is you take the profits from crypto when the cycle's over and you put it in the precious metals when it's down. If crypto's going up, precious metals are going down, because money finds its way from one market to the next. That's why gold right now is getting slaughtered ever since the news, but it won't be for long. Won't be for long. It won't be for long. Because if you take it out into a wider view, it doesn't look great right now, but it doesn't look the worst it could look. Also, what does that look like could possibly be formed? Could this be an inverse head and shoulders in the making? Oh, shit, it's after the market hours. Damn it. That's okay. I wanted to see something. I was looking at the order book on B2 Gold, and it didn't look half bad. It just had a interesting end to the day. So I was considering buying it right there at the end of the day. Of course, I forgot to do it. That's okay. We'll see what happens tomorrow. See what happens tomorrow. After all, I really wanted to make sure it broke above here or came down here. But with that inverse head and shoulders on gold, man, I'm telling you, Something's setting up. But now does it play out? It's just like the rest. Just because it emerges, just because an inverse head and shoulders emerges and it looks bullish doesn't mean it has to play out. We would recommend it to play out because, you know, it would give itself a bad name. You don't want the inverse head and shoulders showing up too much in crypto and going down, down. And how the hell are we going to beat the market? We can't. If our technical analysis is getting beaten up by the manipulators too much, we're screwed. We're screwed. But like the point here too with H bar is like it was up so much. Another point here, I heard some people in the chat. I mean, you guys, I know we haven't talked about XRP healthcare, and, you know, we haven't seen each other. But did you see what's happened here with XRP healthcare? And I've seen people complain about the fact it came from, and I called this out for everybody. Who remembers when I called the target for this? Eventually it would come to 11 cents. I think a lot of people thought I was crazy. And I was buying at 1.7, and then I showed everybody at 2.2, right down here. I said, guys, please. And people are like, Tom, how can you not buy this stuff when it's going up this much or that much? Well, you know, I have different things. I have different agendas. At 2 cents, I told my entire audience, please buy this. This is the spot where you can buy. When it did this consolidation, and I'll show you the farther pattern. You could have done whatever you wanted, and that's 376%. Now it's up 279%. Did I mention it's been like, what, 10 days? But now it's over 7 cents. That's with an 11% pullback. That's why I wanted to show everybody. Well, I show you when it's good. It's 11% down, but because of where we bought it, it's up over 300%. So then the person who owns it can make a decision. Well, for me, I know the circulating supply on this thing is trash. There's not a big circulating supply. It's like 60 million. The USA, it's impossible basically to buy it without a VPN now. We used to do it on MEXC. So I'm holding on to it for dear freaking life. And I don't even acknowledge this money. I don't even know what 60,000 goes into 7 cents. I don't care. And not $60,000, but 60,000 tokens, like 62,000 tokens. Oh yeah, somebody mocked me earlier, so that's not staying on there. I was doing our audience a favor, and they're like, "You're gonna FOMO in the Sue?" No, I am not. But it's like I've had assets right now that are up a pretty nice amount here, which is awesome. But at the same time, I'm hoping that we can push into this next portion here without having to do a big consolidation. I think it's promising that XRP is holding this area. I think it's promising that Ethereum is still holding a 2.18% gain here while Bitcoin's down 4.1%. You know, that's a 6% differential in the Ethereum and Bitcoin pairing, Bitcoin to Ethereum or Ethereum Bitcoin. So, I mean, it's not something that should be going unnoticed. How many people are watching today? Wow, 281. Only 107 likes. I really do have to reiterate that likes. Guys and gals, if you respect me and you appreciate the fact that I do all my content for free and I come on here endlessly, aimlessly, without even a plan half the time or 99% of the time, but I try to come out in real time, good or bad, and we try to follow the patterns. And at least you'll know ahead of time if this inverse head and shoulders breaks down, you'll know what you're looking at. If this inverse head and shoulders breaks down, you're looking at this next consolidation. We've already come down here once, and this could be a reversal here now. But it created this inverse head and shoulders. We came down to here to consolidate the pattern breakout. We consolidated the cup and handle breakout. We back tested it perfectly on the inverse right arm. And now does it play out? Does it play out? Nobody knows that. I don't know that. You don't know that. All we can do is try to see where that point would be if it does and what happens if it doesn't. That's all I ever want to know. Tell me both sides of the story so I can see how bad I'm going to get beaten up here or how much I'm going to be freaking jumping for joy if it pans out the way that I want it to. Because just because you want it to, just because you see it, doesn't mean it has to. Because I can see it both ways. I could also see it going down to 91 and filling the fair value gap. But again, this is also forming an interesting setup here. Like, this whole thing is interesting. This whole thing is one big mind you know what. Like, if I didn't know any better, I would say that's a bull flag setting up as well. What do I know? I don't know anything. I just stand here and look at my screen and I'm like, you know, maybe. The inverse head and shoulders I'm sharing with real time, but you know, the inverse head and shoulders is just that. It can be a trap sometimes. We're kind of stagnant right now, I'll be honest. We've been pretty stagnant here the last few hours. So what am I going to do after this live? I'm not going to look at the charts for a few hours is what I'm probably going to do. And I'm going to see how it shakes up after 7 o'clock. And we'll see exactly where this market closes. Because with Bitcoin down under 94K here, it's definitely turning at this tugging point here. And I know a lot of people are long on Bitcoin right now. Or a lot of people are short too now, actually, I think. But we'll see. Is this turning into like some kind of like exhaustion phase for Bitcoin where it's going to have these very volatile swings like boom, then it comes down, back up, back down, back up, back down, back up. And then it just comes down eventually or it breaks out eventually. Because it looks like we could be starting something like this again now. And that's usually at the, when you start doing that, but it would have to come back up here. If you start to sway like that, that means we could getting towards exhaustion for Bitcoin. But I don't know. The way that XRP held up here in Ethereum, if Bitcoin, after coming down 4.3%, you know how they like to do this. They like to have the red one day, and then if it's going to have a rally, they like to be able to slingshot, even for Bitcoin. It started at 96, 97,000 today, right? 97 something, 97.8, 98. Now it comes down into the 93.8, 93.5, 94.2. We don't know where it's going to end. 93, 93.6. But then it goes up 1,000 points tomorrow. Everybody says, oh my God, Bitcoin's up 1%. It's up over 1,000 points or 1.3%. But just not even paying attention to the fact that just yesterday or right now when we're living in it, it's down 4.3%. It's all about what you see in front of you. When the clock flips, nobody cares that it was down 4.2%. Just like nobody cares that XRP's down 0.75% or Ethereum's up 1.8%. They only care what it shows then. And the market makers know that. So they know how to get people manipulated and they know how to get their juices flowing too. So that's why I watch from a cautiously optimistic standpoint all the time. It's why when I trade leverage, it's 5x. I know some people want 10, 20, 50, 5 billion. But in my experience, you know, it doesn't typically work out all that great. Because when you're buying a trade like that, you're looking for a setup. And how often does the setup go, fuck you, goodbye, give me your money? I mean, let's just be honest. Happens a lot. So, I'm trying to pull up my YouTube. Because obviously, it's becoming very apparent. I can't see anything. But right now, at the end of the clock, this is going to be the most volatile to the downside. And see if we can hold. We'll see if we can hold. That's the bottom line. And during this volatility here, I think I'm going to close out the copy trades. And I'm going to... No, maybe not. Actually, maybe not. Because if Ethereum comes down here and it keeps coming down, why not just try to rebuy it at 3,318 if it's going to come all the way through? If this does come down, but then again, if it invalidates it. See, we're in a weird spot here with everything. We're in a weird spot. XRP... Still, everything is teasing. It's still got that inverse head and shoulders setup, but at what price? Does it come through? Does it pull out? Does it fall through? That's what I'm saying. I could see it just as easily falling through here as... I'm not doing nothing. I'm just going to let it play right now. I don't care. I'm going to let it do what it's going to do for now. But it's at this moment. I can't believe it's not. Now it's starting to pop up on my phone. I was going to say it's not even working on my phone. Like, what is going on? 307 people watching. I can't even see your comments. It's crazy. Craziness, I tell you. What's this? Sir Johnson, thank you so much for the $10 donation. He says, love your content. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate that. Good, bad, or indifferent, my friend. You know, we got to go through the motions here. And right now, we're going through emotion. We are going through emotion. There's no doubt about that. Crazy pull, 65,000 tokens. That's got to be on XRP Healthcare. Excellent. The Gatman bought 2.2 cents with me. That's awesome. And this is kind of what we're saying. XRP equals sleeping giant time. Oh, I know that, Mo. Oh, I know that, Mo. The Gatman, it does look good. It's looking good. I can do an analysis on AMP. Yes, I can. XRP GOAT, thank you for the $10 donation. And being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XP Meteor. I was going back, to see these donations that I couldn't see because it's not showing me on my tablet for some reason. It keeps shadow banning my comments, and it's annoying. Man and his dog, though, thanks for your 5th YouTube super chat. $20 donation. Says thank you for all you do. Oh, you're welcome, my friend. Keeps me very engaged, and I can stay very acclimated to the audience if I do this. And it makes me happy. Let's see. Tom needs to start a company that we can buy shares of stock. And I know some people have said you should just buy some or create some kind of digital thing. And it's like, why? So I can rug pull the community? Or what are we going to do? Because once the biggest person sells out, if it has no backing, you know, it's just going to go to zero. And then someone's going to get left holding the bag. Inevitably. It's inevitable. Someone always gets left holding the bag. One man's riches and another man's poor, right? Like somebody shorted the shit out of the market before it rallied all this, and they're not looking so good. But somebody else also long the market, and they're looking okay. You know? So, I'm going to do this. Let's see. It's $1.41. Let's see where the break point would be. Because let's see. We came up. Could it come around? Even if it's going to hold? It's at such a weird spot, ladies and gentlemen. I can't stress it enough. Because this is right where this inverse shoulder is, right here on the right side. So we overcame through. We came back. Could we be setting up some kind of setup here for the next follow through at 7 o'clock? Who knows? But yeah. It's getting dicey here. It's certainly getting spicy. Bitcoin is dumping out. And like the alts did have a dump down, but again, like with XLM, it was up 600%. So it had to have a pullback. You know, a lot of these were up, and now they're pullback. Even VeChain went up yesterday, and the day before 28%, and then another 12%. Now it's pulled back 10%, but it already just went up for a couple days. Like all of these, everything I look at, XRP was one of the ones that kind of consolidated when the other ones kept going up a little bit. It stopped for a second, and it's been in the same consolidation, which to me is a very interesting consolidation. It's very intriguing. It's a very intriguing consolidation to me personally. But I will evaluate this. And then I'm going to see if I can get a better entry. So I'm just going to let it so that it doesn't come down with our positions open. Because I can feel. Huh?
$5 for $4.99 for H bar. Check out H bar, please.
$4.99 for H bar.
They sent you a $4.99
Oh,
donation.
it's not showing me anything. It sucks. It's not showing me anything. I gotta go back to my phone. I don't know why it won't show me anybody's comments. There's so many people on here. I can't see nothing. Nothing.
He sent 2 donations to H bar.
Oh, can you chart out H bar, please? I have H bar charted out, so that's easy. And then I'll go into AMP real quick. H bar needs to hold this channel it's been in. So right now it should be looking at 13 cents. If it breaks this little, and I mean it could be a rising channel. You know, that could be a rising channel. If it busts this, you know, these could be M-topping reversals. We could have, if it busts these, that's what I said earlier. It's either going to be a beautiful moment or we're going to fall off a cliff. You know, that's all there is to it. I was trying to say it without saying fall off a cliff. But, you know, a precipice moment doesn't always work in your favor the first time. So I was hoping we weren't going to take the bearish route. I'm hoping we don't take the bearish route, to be honest with you. And I'm just trying to figure out at the flip of the clock here if we can just maintain this. And to be honest with you, for XRP, if you're buying this and you're trying to hold this, like it's a pretty dicey one because you've got to hold it through the inverse pattern. So you would at least have to hold it. And you know what? This is what you could do. And I'll just keep it like that probably if I decide it. You could do it just like this. You could be like, you know what? I'm going to keep it open until on a 5X trade, $100 or $100 trade, that's a $25 risk. I'm going to keep it open to $1.34, $1.34 and a half, so I can give myself some exposure on a leverage side. But at the same time, you got to remember here that it looks like that's a little bit of a bearish reversal there. So You know, you got to understand what you're signing up for here. Because we had our chance, it went up to $1.50. I didn't even get to see it. That's the worst part. I went to pick up my son from school, and by the time I got home, XRP went from $1.41 where I was doing that update, went all the way up to $1.50. And by the time I got home, it was $1.43. So when I seen it at $1.43, I'm like, oh, it's moving a little bit. And then I seen the chart, I'm like, oh man, I didn't even get to sell it because I would have sold it when it first hit there because you know you have to have the back test. And same with Ethereum, it went way up, and then it came back down. I'm like, what the hell? It looks good. It looked like it was doing okay, but then when you actually looked at it in totality, I missed the move. And that's the other part that sucks with leverage trading. You can make the right move and still miss it. You can make the right move, it comes down and liquidates you, but that looks like an inverse head and shoulders here. So I'm going to be rooting for the inverse head and shoulders, no doubt about it. Are you still in Casper? No, I haven't been in Casper since it was around 2 when it made that move to 2.8 earlier in the year. And the fundamentals in the chart for some reason was weird. And it should have had a breakout and it didn't. I sold it and a couple months later when it deep bombed. I went up a little bit after I sold. It wasn't the end, but then all of a sudden it dived massively. And I was glad that I sold, especially when I found out the founders kind of took some of the money. Kind of ran. You don't really want to see that. But, so I'm just looking at something real quick. So, because Ethereum is still the gatekeeper here. And we talked about this inverse head and shoulders. So with Ethereum, if you did this, I'm just going to try to leave you with some knowledge, and then we're going to go into AMP if you're going to try to do something here. Ethereum's a little bit easier. You could theoretically take an Ethereum trade and say that I'm trying to play an inverse head and shoulders if you are looking for something risky in your bones. And you could theoretically do this right now. And you'd be looking at about, it's less than a $20 risk here. Well, not quite, because if you want to come all the way through. But you got this right here, so you'd have to hold this. So as long as you come down below and give yourself space, this could be as little as a $15 risk, depending on how you do it. If you come right here, it's about an $18 risk. You know what? That might be the spot for the risk, but that would be up to you. Is there any copy traders in here right now? Because I'll leave it on the community. And it's not that I think Casper is a pile of crap. It's just, I don't like that the founders did that, so it'll leave a bad taste in your mouth. I love Digibyte. I have 300,000 tokens of Digibyte. We haven't even priced in the missile strike in Russia. I know. It's true. And then they printed $2 billion worth of Tether here just recently too. So, but I'm trying to see, because if we can come down a little bit lower for XRP and retest maybe right here. But it's all dicey, guys. That's why I say don't leverage. You know, do the spot positioning. Do the spot positioning. Can you chart out H-bar? We were on H-bar for a sec, but now I need to go to AMP too. But H-bar, yeah, we need to hold. It's basically we're in this little channel. I could do the smaller chart, but the wider pattern says we're in a little channel. And if it breaks it, it could be more consolidation, but it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Because that could pull down into a big M, and then we could take the stairs down. That's the epitome here. If it breaks down here, it's going to be an interesting drop down to see where exactly it goes. We already have pointed at that 91 cent mark, where with XRP, we haven't tested that fair value gap. So, and it was a pattern breakout of a rising channel. So, that's something that we always have to consider in the back of our head. And then if it goes up, some people say, see, Tom, you're talking the bearish stuff to 91. And then if it goes down, people say, see, Tom, you're talking the bullish stuff to $1.70. But if you just listen to the whole analysis, I talk about both, and I'm equally concerned for both sides of it. Let's just call it for what it is. AMP. It back tested here a little bit. It has a big breakout that it's working on right now. But as you see, it came up once, got rejected. Well, it came up to 6.5. And I was trying to chart this because it looked like to me it was forming something even bigger now that it's trying to form on this consolidation. So with AMP, if it loses right here, if it loses 4.9, it could always open the door back up to coming back to the uptrending support. Up to resistance, down to support. And then in the end, this was only the first layer breakout, and then it formed the second tier resistance. And then it might have to come all the way back down here. It's always possible for that to happen. It is always possible. So, you know, that's what you would have to be looking for AMP. And if it comes back through 0048, it could be a problem here. You know, I'm in and out of these so much that 1 second I have a bunch of AMP, 1 second I'll have a couple 100,000, I have 100,000. It just all depends on where it's at. So, but I'm up on AMP right now, so I'm not too worried about its rotation right now. But I'm trying to, I feel like there's a deeper meaning that's going on here for some reason. I feel like we're hitting a deeper meaning. Like we're seeing something here, and now if we get a concrete break below the inverse head and shoulders, I think we would be able to make an honest conclusion here that, well, you know, we had a real chance here to make a big move, and it just didn't. You know, and that would be okay. And then you have to go back to the drawing board, and that might be what we have to do. We might have to go back and say, well, when's the next logical point for the breakout? Put your stuff back in, you know, your extra capital. Have it in USDC, United States digital currency, or USDC, and then have some striking capital. You know, unless you need to take money and, you know, you're like, you know, honestly, I've been doing this for a while, and I don't think I'm into this anymore. I think I want to take some of my profits, and I want to go home. That's fine. You are allowed to go home. Remember, we started this at XRP at 34 cents. So if you want to go home, you go home. I have no leverage open right now. So, you know, I kind of, when I seen it coming back towards, it was a couple dollar loss and less than 15 total between Ethereum and XRP. So I figured I'll see where this consolidates down to. But I have no leverage open. It's all spot right now.
Pump Master Flash wants you to look at something. He's been putting a lot of comments
About what?
Something's gonna ETH is gonna pump.
Oh yeah, Ethereum. That's why I keep saying Ethereum's the one that I'm very interested in to just hold. That's why I was asking if there's any copy traders, because I would just open that copy trade and put it down pretty far down, and just hold it. And then if it broke this cycle, I could sell it and then buy it back at the bottom here. But I believe Ethereum, it's got a pump here. It's gonna do it soon. I really do. I believe Ethereum's gonna do it the soonest. So if I could get my copy traders, anybody, if somebody says, Tom, I want you in it.
Canto is consolidated.
What's consolidating?
Canto?
I'll have to take a look at that too. Sorry, it makes it so hard when I have to go through my YouTube and try to find everything because I can't see it on the screen. You get it, Julie, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
It's annoying. It's
Somebody
frustrating.
said they put in a long in Ether.
Oh, you put it along in Ether. Well, then I have to join you, my friend.
Though somebody said longs are getting hella liquidated right now.
Well, yeah, yeah. That's why I keep saying I never do more than a 5x, and then I have my limits. But with Ethereum, you can, like for me, I can marginalize it real nice with Ethereum. It's really nice, actually, because of the way it's set up. So if you look at the pattern, I mean, right now, I'm looking to see if it'll continue this follow through down to 3,311. But it does look like we have a setup here. So what I was saying was, if I bought it here on a dump down here, because you're going to be buying it for a dump and then try to get the reversal. But from right here, if you buy it, Ethereum's a little more forgiving from the standpoint. You could do a 5x, do just $100. And I'm not telling you to open a $1,000 trade. I'm not even doing that. But if you're a risk taker with leverage, you could pull it down here. You could even hold it and be like, you know what, I'm going to hold it the whole 10% down, which I don't like to do. But you could do it down here underneath this formation of the low. And so I'm going to give myself a little room to work here. And there's a 20% risk right now on $100. But I like to look to see where it eventually is going to travel and if it shows me some signal. Right now, I'm not very happy with how it played out today. I'm just saying. I'm not happy. Because we had an opportunity here earlier to break free. And we got grasped back by the beast. And unfortunately, if the beast pulls any farther, we're going to invalidate ourselves. You know, we talked earlier here why I would sell the XRP one. Not the long, but the leverage. Exactly. That's why. But also it would need to double bottom or something. But the fundamental setup here now is shifted a little bit with this recent tug. And, you know, I try to be positive. I try to bring the energy. I have the energy, but now I'm being more of the, oh boy, we didn't take the W route like I wanted, right? We didn't take that. So,
XRP is dropping.
oh, it is dropping. Absolutely, it's dropping. That's why I'm here, because in real time. Good or bad or indifferent, I want to be here for the audience. And you know what? Some people are like, you're always right or you're always wrong. I just do what the charts are showing. So right now I'm still looking at the inverse head and shoulders until it's invalidated. And I'm still looking at Ethereum to come out with some firepower here unless invalidated. That's the best way I can put this. And if we go into the higher time frames, I mean, that doesn't look on Ethereum. All this is telling me for Ethereum is we had a big breakout. The bears tried to bring us down and we couldn't even create a new low right now. That's actually a lot of strength for Ethereum. That's a lot. This is showing a lot of strength for Ethereum. Look at what it did yesterday. Even the daily had more volume today than yesterday. A little bit of interest is starting to pick up here. We had 5.87 million today. But that's what I mean. You could play the bottom of this candle. You could literally play the bottom of that candle. If you have the balls. And if you have the wallet. Because, you know, sometimes it's just why. And like XRP, it went all the way up. But XRP now is on the verge. Like I said, if it comes any lower, if it starts pulling down here, it's going to end up turning into a... It's going to be a disturbing candle if it keeps going, is what it's going to be. But... because we opened up here. I mean, you can see where the body was open. You don't want to close below that little body framework. Because this would mean further consolidation possibly. See, we're shifting right now. We're shifting in real time. Ethereum, on the other hand, still to me looks like the play. It hasn't made the move. It hasn't done what most other cryptos have done. Julie, what am I trying to convince myself for? How many times have I told you Ethereum? You've heard. I know. Because it just seems like it's the one set up because all the money's going to find itself somewhere.
Somebody said Bitcoin 92K.
So somebody in my audience, I need to go. Did anybody say that they were part of the leverage and wanted me to buy Ethereum? Damn.
Not that I've seen.
I'm going to freak out the newbies and they will never get back. Still got some time before the clock switch. Yes, we do. As many times as I can say 91 cents. Oh, yeah, we've been talking about 91 cent XRP. To make no mistake about it, we've talked about that scenario. I talk about it all.
Somebody said, how do you see the inverse but not the upright?
I do see the upright. We talked about the M. That's what it would do if it failed on the short-term inverse head and shoulders. Has anybody listened? I've been talking about this the entire time that I've been on. We're hanging from a cliff right now. The only hope is that the short term breaks us up, but I'm very aware that if it pulls down, you've got that. But if we come down here, does that mean you could do this, and you got a big W playing out? Like, where does it end? How many times can we show different things, you know? So we can turn it from a inverse head to an M to a W to a who knows what next. But I understand it's there. I get it.
Someone up with a 40x leverage on XRP.
A 40x leverage on XRP on that inverse head and shoulders, I would imagine. I'm telling you, because right now, it's not a bad setup. That inverse head and shoulders is there. It's just if it pulls down into an M or if it pulls down into something more. So it's all speculative, but all I know is I'm just going to do what I want to do. And I'm going to do the Ethereum trade because I want to. And I'm going to put the stop loss below it because I want to. And I'm going to open up the XRP trade because I want to. And if it becomes too rich for the copy trading community, that's okay. Because this is me trading and you're just following. So that's all that matters. So I'm tired of doing the risk tolerance sometimes because I'm worried about other factors that I shouldn't be worried about. So I'm not worried about it. $102 in XRP. What is that? 96 in XRP. That's not good enough.
Somebody asked if you think this is the bottom.
If this inverse head and shoulders plays out, it very well can be. But if it turns into a topping reversal, no. we're stuck in the middle right now. So Ethereum 107, XRP 106. I'm actually going to raise the Ethereum position because it's got an easier setup to dictate. So I might go like 220 into Ethereum, and then that stop loss for Ethereum for me, I can set it up pretty nicely where I was looking before, and try to dictate what's going to happen here. So I was looking at it before and saying 3,200. Wait a minute. How much capital do I want to put in here?
Right put a stop loss at 3327.
On Ethereum, you put 3327. Okay, so you're putting it on that inverse part of the inverse part of this consolidation because you're giving it plenty of room because you've got the V-shaped recovery, which is good. Just because it's in the copy trade, I'm probably going to put it a little bit lower than you just to try to keep it open so I won't have to reopen. But I'll put it at like put it like 3,300 probably. Oh, not. Yeah, 3,300 maybe. Ironically, it opened $222 in margin, Julie, on Ethereum. Ironically. So yeah, 3,300 I would say. And for what I did, it's a $33 risk. So that's 3,309. Yeah, I could see 3,300. I can also see what J-Ride's saying because that's the logical choice. If it breaks below 3,337, there's probably not much hope here because then it will probably invalidate this break through the neckline, which I think that's a strong stop loss actually. Because then who says you couldn't reevaluate if it came through and then somehow pulled back? You know, J-Ride, you said what did he say, Julie?
3327.
3327. I'm going to do 3322.2. Why not? I like your area. I like your area. But then again, I like mine too. So my gut says 3282.22. And we'll just call it a day. 3282. XRP on the other hand, if I'm being realistic, if I'm playing the inverse head and shoulders, if XRP breaks $1.35, I wouldn't be able to hold that. On this kind of a setup. Let's see. See, this is why I hate putting stop loss in. Because what if I'm right and then it comes down too far and then I end up being wrong on where I put the stop loss? So usually I just let it run unabated. I'll put it at $1.33. $1.33, it's a $28 risk. And then I'll reevaluate it later. But at least I know my maximum risk potential here. I know what I'm setting up for. And I know the volatility that could be coming. But damn it, I'm going to play the odds that it's going to go up here. And most people are seeing the bigger pattern. They're not seeing the inside pattern. And that's why I like doing the lives too. Because then I can get the general consensus here of what's actually going on. And now I can see the audience's general consensus as well. So, you know, I think we stick to our gun here. And we just put the stop losses on. What the hell is the worst that can happen? We lose $50 here. So what? We'll fight again and probably lose another $50. That's what happens. And then eventually you make $6,000. You know, it just works out in different balances if you can pick up on things. So I'm just going to trust what I'm seeing. The hell with it. And then if it doesn't pan out, we do what we do. Anyhow, next, let's see. Bitcoin dominance charts dropped and sloped. They sure did. I know this isn't the right form, but where the hell is the XRP doc? I don't know. Seems to be eluding us. We made a higher high and a higher low. That is mega bullshit. It sure is. Oh, yeah, when I started looking at that consolidation, there's nothing that scares me. So, to not be in it without be able to stop loss, now I'm fine. You know, I'm looking at something deeper. That's what I've been trying to explain during this. And I understand all the questions and concerns about the market. Trust me, I do better than anybody. I can see what's going on in the chart and the different dimensions here. But I can also see we have a fail safe here if it plays out. This wasn't here earlier. You know, until it came down and did that deep consolidation this morning, we didn't know it was building. I thought we were on a topping reversal and we could come all the way to $1.13 possibly. This gave me hope because you can clearly see it extended this pattern out a little too far, some would say. And now this topping reversal is invalidated and it created inverse head and shoulders. Now, if you're talking M topping reversal, again, it could happen, but wouldn't it be more likely if we're getting a Batman top that it would actually make the Batman top? And I know a lot of people are saying maybe a bump and run. Are we saying a bump and run maybe? Where it doesn't make it all the way back up and then it just runs? Like a bearish bump and run? I could see that. But like if it's going to be an M, to come right here just seems cheap. It seems like it would have to actually, hey, I'm going to come up and double top and make the actual Batman top. That's my argument. This right here, if it does, that's like a bearish bump and run. It's slightly different pattern, and then it would still have upward consolidation hopes. It would be like, maybe it does that. That's what I mean. That's how you could get the W. But I understand how it could turn into the Batman top. I understand that every faction of the patterns that can form. And when I'm doing the analytics in my head, there's more positive than negatives that are popping off my head. That's it. There's more positive than negatives, and from an analytical approach that are telling me, you know, you got to take chances sometimes. And no chance goes without risk, so your capital is your risk. What's your risk tolerance here? Well, I want to open both because I have high hopes for both because of the setups. So my risk tolerance is, because it's a copy, if it was just me, $200. But because it's the copy trade, $60. How about that? So then I find a spot where I can open both and I can have a $60 risk tolerance. If it goes a little bit over, it goes a little over. If it's a little under, it's a little under. But it gives what I'm looking at a chance to play. If it comes below what I'm looking at, I don't even want to be in it for that kind of a trade until it comes back and gives me another setup. But something don't feel right to just say it's going to come down here. That looks like a huge inverse head and shoulders that I'm staring at. And the 15, it makes it even bigger. The 45, it's still very defiant. I mean, I don't even think you need to be a seasoned veteran here to see that. Maybe you do. An hour. And now it came down and could have created a W here within the little consolidation. But I don't know. You know, we'll see how it plays out. That's why I say I don't even like looking at the charts while the play's going. I like to put the stop loss on and go do my thing. Because when you start looking at it, whatever, most of the time I make my biggest success overnight, believe it or not. Because I'm not watching it. I'm sleeping. I have my stop loss on. And yeah, I've gotten stopped out a few times and had to buy back in the morning. But I've had a few times where I just let it ride. Don't look at it from the time I end my live. Don't look at the charts. Don't look at it till I wake up in the morning. And then you've got that 16 to 20% surge you've been waiting for. But after a 3.5% dip to a 12% rise to a 6% drop to a 17% move up to a 17% move down to a 21% move up to a 7% consolidation, eventually ending at your 31% gain. Somehow, some way after the last move. But it's so up and down, left and right, you'll go nuts. You'll go nuts, and I think that's the mistake most people make. I used to make that mistake a lot. Is he still not up? Okay. Julie? Try to relax. You just want to do this pre-roll on the counter? Hold on, guys. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. But I don't know. I mean, we've been on a pretty long time now. I think I've basically said everything I can possibly say. I'm trying to see this play out, but at the same time, it's been an hour and 20 minutes. We got 198 likes. Can we do a little bit better than that, please? Please. 317 people watching. Those likes are like gold to me. YouTube will recommend my lives and my content. Notice most of you didn't get an alert. So if we ramp up the like button, we give them a reason to advertise my channel. It's so simple. It's such a simple thing. It's so simple, but yet so difficult to explain. But like I said, in the beginning, we talked about XLM, how it looked like it needed to come down to that uptrend. And now it looks like it's come down here. Maybe it formed a little bit of a reversal here now, which would be nice. Overzealous move down, a little bit of possible. We'll see. We'll see. But remember, XLM had a very, very overzealous push up. compared to XRP. That's why when XRP kept consolidating and XLM's going up, a lot of people are getting mad. But, you know, things run in their own way. Things run in their own way. Just remember that. Things run in their own cycle. Yeah, I have one. But I'm going to end this, ladies and gentlemen, because me and Julie are going to hang out. We got to deal with some stuff here with our son here as well.
Holidays coming.
Holidays are coming, so I really appreciate everybody tuning in. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. If you got anything out of this, please, please subscribe to my channel and come on back. I'd greatly appreciate it. If you're looking to trade this market from a leverage standpoint, spot preferably, but from leverage as well, you can go into my video description below or pin comments, or you can go to my homepage and go to XRP Future Millionaire. We just went over 28,300 subscribers today. 2 days ago, we got over 28,000. So we've already made 300 subscribers the last 48 hours, which is, or 72 hours. That's awesome. But BITUNIX for leverage is my preferred choice. It has the lowest leverage fees that I found. So that's the only exchange I use for leverage. HOTCOIN I like because they have VELO. And I like to keep my VELO and HBAR together. Don't ask me why. Some have. I don't know why. I just do. And then crypto.com. I not only have the Visa card, but I have, what do I have there? A lot of stuff. XLM, DGB, VeChain, ZIL, VThor, what's the other one? IOTX. So, you know, and that's where I'm verified. So, you know, you have your avenues for everything. If you want to send a donation, you do PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. And by the way, Emerson, I seen on Venmo, Emerson sent me a $15 donation through Venmo. First one I've gotten Venmo in a very long time. So I did see that. So thank you very much for that. Forgot to say that, but I did see that when I started. It was from when my stream I had to end it the first time and then restart it. So thank you, everybody. It's been an honor and a privilege. We'll just keep watching this. And yeah, Bitcoin is, for this to happen, Bitcoin has to come unglued a little bit. The dominance had to start coming down. And it's starting to, but, you know, don't count Bitcoin out yet because maybe the market's just continuing to move with Bitcoin. And then when it's time, but look at XRP, it held up very well today, and Ethereum held up very well, our two targets right now. So, you know, we'll see. We're playing that inverse head and shoulders on XRP, and we're playing the, we know the upcoming cycle shift in the Ethereum, and we're trying to see if this is the time. If not, no harm, no foul. We take about a $50 hit, and then we try again and try to either make or lose. So that's it. Have a blessed evening. I'm so blessed to have all of you here.